When I received that letter, my hand shook like leaves in the wind. Not because of the delicate handwriting that I knew so well, but because of what was written in it. But let me start from the beginning, because every love story deserves to be told in its entirety, even when it ends in ashes. It was December 2023 when I met Helena at Guarulhos Airport. I was returning from a work trip, exhausted, dragging my broken suitcase, when she approached me. "Excuse me, aren't you Rafael, who works at the consulting firm Andrade and Associados?" I looked up, and it was as if the world stopped. Wavy brown hair, green eyes that shone with genuine curiosity, a smile that made me completely forget about my tiredness. "Yes, I am. Do you know me? I'm Helena, from the company you consulted last year. Remember? I was the project coordinator. I vaguely remembered some meetings, but I certainly didn't remember her. How could I have gone unnoticed by someone like that? We talked while we waited for her flight. We discovered that we lived in the same neighborhood, went to the same gym, and had friends in common. It was as if the universe had conspired to bring us together. It seems like we were meant to meet," she said, laughing. At that moment, I believe her words wholeheartedly. The following months were the most intense of my life. Helena had a unique way of seeing the world. She found beauty in simple things that I would never notice. A sunset reflected in the building's window, the smell of coffee in the morning, the music playing softly in the elevator. "Do you know that you make me feel alive again?" I said one night in March, as we walked along the Copacabana beach. She stopped, looked at me with those green eyes that I already loved so much, and whispered, "You have no idea what you did to me, Rafael. I was lost before I met you." We kissed there, with the sound of the waves in the background, and I knew that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. Helena moved into my apartment in May. We shared everything, from bills to our wildest dreams. She talked about traveling around Europe. I talked about starting my own company. We planned our future together, as if we were two architects designing the perfect house. "Promise you'll never leave me?" she asked one morning after we'd made love. "I promise. Forever, Helena. Forever," she repeated, and sealed the promise with a kiss. It was in August that I began to notice small changes. Helena, who had always left her cell phone somewhere, began carrying it everywhere, even to the bathroom. "Work," she explained when I asked about the constant calls. "You know how it is, right? Annoying clients." But I knew her tone when she talked about work, and this wasn't it. There was something different, a softness, an intimacy that she usually reserved only for me. One night, I woke up and she wasn't in bed. I found her in the living room, whispering into the phone. "No, honey, he's sleeping." "I know, I wanted to soon." My heart sank. "Honey," who was she talking to? When she saw me, she hung up quickly. It was my sister. Family problem. Helena didn't have a sister. The world fell apart one September afternoon. I came home early from work to surprise her. I had bought tickets to a concert by a singer she loved. I wanted to propose to her during her favorite song. The apartment door was ajar. I heard voices, hers and a man's. "He doesn't suspect anything," Helena said. "He's so naive. He believes everything I say. And when will this act end? I can't stand sharing you with him anymore. Calm down, Lucas. Just a little longer. I need to make sure he'll leave me the apartment in my name when we break up. He loves me so much that he'll sign anything." I felt like my heart had been ripped out of my chest with their bare hands. Lucas. I knew that name. He was her ex-boyfriend, the one she claimed to hate. "Besides," she continued, "he earns a good living. If I get pregnant, it'll be a pension for life." The engagement ring I was holding fell to the floor with a soft thud. I entered the room like a ghost. They were cuddling on the couch we bought together, in the apartment we shared, in the life I thought was ours. "Rafael." Helena jumped to her feet, her eyes wide. "You're early. You believe everything I say." I repeated her words, each syllable coming out like glass from my throat. So naive. Lucas stood up too, but he didn't seem the least bit embarrassed. In fact, he smiled. "Helena, didn't I say he'd find out eventually?" "Shut up, Lucas." "How long?" I asked, my voice strangely calm. "Rafael, can I explain?" "How long?" She lowered her eyes. "From the beginning. The world spun. The airport, was it planned? I knew your schedule. Lucas works at the airline. He gave me your flight information. 3 months planning how to meet me. Almost a year pretending to love me. I laughed, but it was a joyless, lifeless laugh. Why, Helena? Why work so hard for an apartment and a salary? Because you're pathetic, she exploded, finally showing her true colors. You believed every word, every I love you, every promise. Men like you deserve to be deceived. 3 days later, they moved in. Helena took half the furniture, the ones she could prove she had help by. She left only a letter on the coffee table. Raphael, I know it's going to be hard for you to believe me now, but I need you to know there were times when the feeling was real. When you looked at me on those Sunday mornings, when we cooked together, when you hugged me after nightmares, I came to love you. For real. The plan was simple at first. Lucas was broke. I needed stability. You seemed like an easy target. But you made me feel things I didn't expect. For a few months, I really thought about leaving Lucas and being with you. But love doesn't pay the bills, Raphael. And you love too much. It scares me. I love you in a way that made me realize I don't know how to love back. The pregnancy is real. And the baby is yours. Helena. P.S. Lucas doesn't know. My hand was shaking, so much that the letter fell. I picked up the phone and called her, but she had already changed her number. I went to their new apartment. They had moved to another city. 3 weeks later, I got a call. Raphael? It's Helena. I need to see you. I found Helena in a small cafe in the city center. She was different. Thinner, dark circles under her eyes, her hands nervous. Lucas left me when he found out I was pregnant, she said bluntly. He said he wasn't going to raise someone else's child. I remained silent. I don't want anything from you. Not money, not recognition. I just wanted you to know that everything in the letter was true. I loved you, Raphael. In my own twisted way, but I loved you. And now, I asked. Now I'm going to leave. Far away. Start over. She stood up to leave, but I held her hand. Helena! What? If you stay, if you want to try again, for real this time, I forgive you. She looked at me for a long moment, her eyes full of tears. You really loved me too much, Raphael. And that's what makes me know I don't deserve your forgiveness. That was the last time I saw her. 6 months later, I received a photo in the mail. A baby with green eyes, just like hers, smiling at the camera. On the back, it simply said, Miguel. He has your smile. Today, 2 years later, I still keep that photo in my wallet. Sometimes I wonder if she really loved me, even if it was just for a short time. Sometimes I wonder if there's a little boy out there who carries my DNA in her smile. But I learned something about love. Sometimes, loving too much is the only way to love that's worth it. Even when it hurts. Even when it destroys. Even when the person you love can't love you back. Because in the end, what remains is not the betrayal. It's the ability to have loved with all the intensity a human heart can bear.